Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple R Show, Real Raw Recovery, where honesty meets healing every single day. My name is Mike, and I'll be your host. And before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment and pause and recognize everybody that got through the holidays successfully. And we had to deal with emotions and family dynamics and triggers and discomfort, and we showed up, and you showed up. So that has to be acknowledged as a victory. Always take a victory every opportunity that we get. I always suggest when you have your victories, always bring them to the mirror and acknowledge those victories to yourself, because that's going to continue to build your commitment. That's going to continue to build your self-esteem. And those are directions that we want to continue to go towards a strong recovery. If you struggled during the holidays and you weren't able to show up and maybe you had a setback, we look at it as a mistake. And just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you are a mistake. And all that's telling you is that you have some more work to do in this transformational therapy, and only you can answer that question as to how much work that you are actually putting into the process. But now comes to the part that counts. And December 25th, December 31st is no different from January 5th, January 6th, or March 7th. We have to continue to do this work regardless of what day it is throughout the year. And if you got through it, you may have a false sense of confidence and security setting in your recovery, but you have to remember, with that confidence, we cannot get to the point where like, well, I got through that, I got this now. Because the minute we say, I got this, my answer to that and your answer to yourself should be, no, you effing don't. Because the minute we start feeling that way and the minute we start thinking that way is the minute we start to move away from our recovery and think that we don't have to do the work. The work is essential towards long-term sobriety and happiness. Confidence can be good while it's controlled and maintained. Recovery does not live there. It survives in doing the daily work. And the daily work is so important to us, and that's where our commitment lies. And whether it's getting on our feet and moving, exercise, eating with intention, mirror work, journaling, making our gratitude lists. These are all things that we have to do every single day to ensure that we continue to move forward during this journey. And when we stop doing the work is when we'll start to drift. And recovery is built on choices that we make every single day. And a great way to start your morning that I've incorporated is the minute you wake up, the first thing that we're doing is not grabbing for that phone, because it's sitting on the edge of our bed. We had the alarm set. All right, you turn the alarm off. And then the first thing you do is we look at it. So what I like to do is before I jump into that world is I want to reflect on what I have, what I'm grateful for, listen to some Louise Hay or Wayne Dyer, which are great motivational interviews to kickstart your day. We do our mirror work, and before you know it, you're into your day with a positive attitude. And when you change the way you think, the way you live your life is going to change. So, with our everyday choices and with exercise and moving your body, there are going to be days, trust me, there are going to be days where you don't feel like getting outside and going to the gym, where you don't feel like going outside for a run, where you don't feel like doing anything physical. And those are the important days where you have to just make that commitment to yourself that you've already made, but continue to make them. So you're going to continue to start feeling good about yourself, and your self-esteem continues to build. And even maybe so you don't go the full distance and you don't do your complete workout, but at least do something every single day to continue moving forward. Because if we're not moving forward, then we're going backwards. And with the eating, everybody likes to eat, but it doesn't mean that you have to bury your emotions in food. So yes, you can treat yourself and have some finger food here and there, but it doesn't have to be every single day. It doesn't have to be all the time, because your psychology, your physiology, they all come into play, and they all feed into your health. So make sure you're taking care of all aspects of your body, your spirituality, your physical body, and your mind. And with our breathing techniques that we talked about, there's going to be confrontation. There's going to be situations that you're not comfortable with, that you're not happy with, that you don't agree with. And that is where you have to just take a step back, use your breaths, and it's never a good idea to have a disagreement or a confrontation or anything of that sort when you're emotionally fueled, the other person is emotionally charged. So a great tidbit on that is just listen to the other person, hear what they're saying, you know how you feel, and just say, look, I just need to process this And then could we come back and re-engage in this conversation so we can come to a solution? Because it's never going to be the proper solution if you're both going head to head in that frame of mind. And we also want to consider during this process, boredom may start to slip in. All right. And if you're starting to feel bored or you're not seeing any growth, that's where your recovery needs depth and not an escape from it and starting to go back to your old patterns and your old behaviors. And I remember a time early in my recovery where at the end of the night, I'd sit down and I'd say, I didn't get enough done today, or how much should I get done today? And then you sit back and you reflect and you're like, I did A, B, C, D, and E. And you forget about that because you're not giving yourself the credit and the victories of accomplishing all of that, because there is time where you do need to sit down and you do need to relax and put your feet up and soak in the successes that you've had throughout the day. And with that boredom comes your identity and your habits. And then, so when you change your habits and you start living a better life, that is when the boredom is not going to feel as desperate and in your face as it would if you're not feeling great about yourself. And it's very easy for those negative thoughts to start slipping in. So during this process, be aware of your thoughts and don't believe everything that you say. And if you do catch yourself saying negative things, which may creep in, we are human. Immediately, we have to catch that and replace that with a positive affirmation about yourself. That has to be second nature to you. Anytime a negative thought process comes through, grab it and replace it. Now, with mirror work, we just talked about, and gratitude lists, those are two main things that I do every single day. Earlier on in my recovery, I had found myself checking boxes for my daily work. And life does get busy. Everybody has other things going on with work and family and commitments that you have to make. And it's very easy to fall into that slope where you start going through the day. Okay, I did my mirror work. I did my gratitude list. And with no intention. With the work that you're putting in, you have to be very thorough with it. And with the mirror, engage yourself. Look into your eyes. And with the gratitude list, sometimes you write a gratitude list, and some people tend to make a gratitude list that's really long. And then you could hardly even remember what you put on your list. So what's a good tool to use for that is maybe take one or two things that you really are gracious for and that you really have some gratitude towards, and take 2 to 3 minutes on each one of those things that you're showing gratitude for and reflect on it, as opposed to just writing a huge list and it gets lost. And setting goals is going to be a great thing for us and a great tool for us to use in recovery to keep us motivated and to keep us grounded. And we have to create a daily plan. And the phrase we always use is to make a plan and work the plan. Now, within that plan, there has to be some flexibility because things are going to come up in your life that is going to take a priority, and that has to be addressed. Hi, everybody. This is Mike, and I hope you're enjoying our podcast. And I just wanted to remind everybody that Real World Recovery at realworldrecovery.org, we do offer one-on-one coaching sessions for transformational therapy, where we focus on personal responsibility and self-esteem, which we believe is the true essence of long-term sobriety and happiness. We do offer a free 30-minute consultation where you and I sit down, I get to know your story, you get to know my story a little bit more, and we start developing a plan for you moving forward. So we look forward to getting to know you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast. Now, as for the theme for the week, the holidays to habits. So yes, we got through the holidays, but more holidays are going to come. So we have to start establishing habits that are going to sustain us through any situation that we're faced with. And one of those things that we have to address are people, places, and things. Now, especially in early recovery, it's extremely important that you look at the people, you look at the places, and you look at the things that are associated with your use and your drinking. And there needs to be changes right off the bat. Now, as you become strong in your recovery and you're in active recovery, that's where the situation comes where you have to become your own people, places, and things. Especially with alcohol. Alcohol is going to be thrown in your face all over the place, whether you go to the supermarket, whether you go online. You can't avoid it forever. So sooner or later, you have to get comfortable with yourself, and that's where the battle between avoidance and internal connection starts to take place. And that takes place through this work. So with a strong recovery and working on these tools and having a daily plan and making better choices, that's when you're going to start seeing that shift where you start becoming, you are your people, you are your places, and you are things. And you're going to feel comfortable going into any situation that you're in without the term craving or the term triggers, because basically it's just an association that you're used to being in those places, those environments. And what we did there was we usually had a drink. Now, that also brings us to another issue that we have to talk about is when you are out and you are in these environments, you see people, and it's advertised all over the place, are not non-alcoholic beers and mocktails. And that could be extremely dangerous. And you're playing a game of poker there when you start engaging in that behavior, again, especially in early recovery, because again, associations come into play. So you're in the same place, you're in the same setting, it's the same energy, it's the same music, it's the same feel, it's the same glass, it's the same people. So it's very easy for your subconscious to automatically, in your muscle memory, to start saying, you know what, I'm supposed to be having a drink here. So you're bringing yourself right to the line without crossing it. And then depending on how your day is going and depending on how much work you've put in, that's where you can slip, and that's where you can make a poor choice for yourself and for the people that love you and the people that care about you. And with the non-alcoholic beers and with the mocktails, you have to ask yourself another serious question. Why am I drinking the non-alcoholic beer, or why am I drinking the mocktail? Is it because I truly enjoy the taste of it? And again, that's fine, and that's okay. And there are some people that do that. And if you are, again, strongly implanted in your recovery and your foundation is strong, then that's okay for you. Again, everybody's recovery and everybody's journey is different. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, am I drinking this cocktail because I don't want to give explanations as to why I'm not drinking an alcoholic beverage? Do I not want to seem different from the other people that are around me? And if that is the case, and the answer to your question is absolutely, then it's the drink or the substance is not the issue, it's your identity. And you have not found out exactly who you are right now. So again, you're living behind that mask that we've worked so diligently in trying to remove to show who we truly are. So you should not care what other people think. That is a personal choice. And with that, therein lies the whole difference between being sober and being abstinent. So you can walk around with a solo cup, or you can walk around with a non-alcoholic drink, and you can pretend that you're not sober, and everything's going to be fine and dandy except for in here. You have to be comfortable with you and the decisions that you're making for you, because just not drinking is not sobriety. Sobriety is not drinking, and it's changing the way that you think about yourself. It's changing your perception of how other people think of you. And so the proverbial question is, what do you want? What are you searching for through your recovery journey? Do you want the freedom that it offers? Do you want the peace that it offers? The only time you're going to get that true freedom and that true peace is when you are comfortable with the choices that you are making for yourself, when you are comfortable with the person that you look in the mirror every morning and every night. Because if you're drinking these fake drinks and these mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks, then at the end of the day, you're still lying. You're lying to other people and you're lying to yourself. So Holidays to Habits is about moving from survival to ownership. So turning what you've already learned into daily practices and continue doing that repetition, and you start developing a routine that is going to propel you each and every day. And remember also, you don't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. A lot of people struggle with that. Everything has to be wonderful or everything is terrible. There's a middle ground there that you have to find. And yeah, some days you're going to have great days and other days are going to maybe feel a little blah. But as long as you're keeping it even flow and you're not going up and down here. And when things are going great, which they're going to be, acknowledge it and have gratitude for that, because those moments are great. And we talk about it all the time. Every moment is precious. There are no ordinary moments. Every moment that you have, every opportunity that you have is extraordinary. So what we do is we show up for ourselves today, and then we do the same thing tomorrow. Because every single day, our goal should be, I'm going to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And then the day after that, my goal today is to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And then we have to continue to do that. And that's how habits are built. And that's how confidence goes. And that's how recovery becomes a way of life. So again, make a plan and work a plan. Make sure you're staying active. And we want to thank you again for coming to the Real Raw Recovery Show, the RRR Show, where honesty meets healing every single day. My name is Mike, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.